Hey guys, and welcome to round 2 of the podcast with, I have a special guest for me, well he's not so special, but it's the FIFA finisher.
Hey!
Today we're actually going to be talking about a lot of different things. It's not just going to be transfers. We got some ideas from the comment section. Thank you to Russell Blizzard. I cannot butcher his name. He came up with the idea of talking about some young prospects and who are going to win the leagues and the Liga, the League One, the Eredivisie, so on, so on, so on. And I thought it'd be interesting to talk about things like that. We were supposed to have another guest, but he's currently sleeping because he's a lazy twat. Basically, right. Right, basically, first of all, some young prospects. What do you think? Like, from the
Looking at some, big players in the Premier League, Joe Gomez, Bellerin, big defenders, and they're already breaking into big squads like Arsenal and Liverpool, so...
But the problem is, for me, Joe Gomez has only had one proper BBL game. Yes, it was a good one against Arsenal, shutting down that Arsenal defence, but then he didn't exactly play amazing. The first goal came in because the ball went straight through his legs against West Ham.
Yeah, but that's the thing though. Against Arsenal, he's been playing, previous seasons he'd been playing for Charlton, so he'd been playing against Championship sides, and going up against Arsenal, he managed to keep, likes of Ozil, Sanchez, because they're all down, I suppose, until... I thought he was the only decent player for Liverpool against Arsenal, to be honest.
Yeah, that is quite a good shout there, to be honest. But whatever happened to John Flanagan? Now, that guy was destined for great. He was destined for great future in an amazing season with Liverpool, and then he just seemed to fucking disappear back to his.
Got injured, didn't he? He got injured, and then
injured. I think he's been fucking shot. He's just completely gone. Like, where has he actually gone? Is he still injured? Or is he?
He's come back. He's in training now.
He's back in training, but he
won't break into the squad though. He'll either get loaned out or sold. I don't think he'll break back into the squad.
Yeah, because he was a first team option for Brendan Rodgers. Now that obviously you got who do you play on the right? Because obviously you got rid of Johnson, you got Klein.
Nathaniel Klein.
Position. Yeah. It's quite a versatile player though, Flanagan. So he can play on the left and right, and the left side's a bit of an issue spot for you. Have you loaned out Ali Sissoko to Aston Villa, or is it
Ali Sissoko was never bought by Liverpool. He was loaned and then got sent back.
I wondered why, you just never played him. I was thinking, why'd you never play him?
He was one of the worst players we've ever had.
Yeah, I can't wait for you to start. But do you think you're actually going to sign another centre back though for the before the window closes? You got until Tuesday, which is tomorrow. Well,
no, we won't sign anymore just because we've got too many. We've got about 4 or 5 centre backs. We've got Sacco, Ilori. We've got Lovren, Skirtle, Joe Gomez. We've got Gomez playing in left back. So obviously, if Lovren got dropped, Gomez would probably go into the centre back role. Moreno would probably come into the left back. We've got loads of players in the defence. So it won't be the defence that gets strengthened, I don't think, personally.
Yeah, but your best defender is Martin Skirtle, and he didn't exactly have a great game against West Ham. Now, Lovren, there is no words. We've already been talking about this all morning. Lovren there is no words to describe what happened with that situation with trying to get rid of the ball. The only way to explain it is the fact that the wind blew the ball back on the pitch and he slipped over himself. I just loved the way he had the effort to try and take him out from behind as he ran away though. The effort, just pure commitment there. But at the beginning, when you signed him, his first ever game, I thought everyone thought he's had a great season with Southampton. I don't know how many years he was at Southampton before that, but he had a great first game for Liverpool. Everyone thought he was going to be good, and then he's just gone downhill after that. Martin Skirtle, without him, from another person's view for you, because obviously you're a Liverpool supporter, I think Martin Skirtle is your best defender, and
there's no doubt.
Because, how old is he?
Skirtle's about 29, I think.
Oh, well, I thought he was in his 30s. He just looks like one of them Serbian, Russian assassins. He doesn't exactly look like a footballer. He's bald and he's got tattoos and he has a face that looks like he's going to punch someone.
No, but with Lovren, signed them for 20-something million, and of course, if you're going to sign someone for 20 million, you expect big things from them. You expect them, to be making the tackle, scoring some goals like Skirtle did 2-3 seasons ago, nearly making us win the league, top scorer, top defender. Yeah. And then, you got likes of Lovren, big price tag, got big expectations at Liverpool. Liverpool, one of the biggest clubs in the league, and then if the fans expect big players for that amount of money. And then when you get him, and you see him messing around with the ball, trying to be Ronaldo, step overs, losing it, and then leaving 3 at the back against a team like West Ham, Payet, it just isn't working, and that's the reason I think too big of a price tag on his head. He's got too much to prove, and I don't think he's anywhere near 20 million, to be honest.
The only good thing about it is, though, that fact he's only like 24, 25, so he's still got years on his hands. But for me, as an outsider of Liverpool, Brendan Rodgers, for as long as you have Brendan Rodgers as a manager, you are never going to win anything. He's just going to splash the cash, try and build players through the youth system, that they're all just going to flop.
No, I disagree with that because, well, no, I don't actually disagree with that. It's the fact that Brendan Rodgers is playing a formation, which is, it's the players that he brings in. He plays football on the floor. He doesn't play it above the ground, crossing in and stuff, but then he signs players like Benteke and then expects us to play it on the feet with Benteke when, as you know, I've seen him for Aston Villa. He just scores headers, really.
Yeah.
He's very good in the air, dominant. But then, as you're playing attacking midfielders like Firmino, Coutinho, and wingers, they're just not going to work at all because obviously they want to cut in, they want to have shots, they want to try and play the striker through. Obviously, Coutinho playing with Suarez, that's all Suarez did. Run off the back of the defence and then Coutinho put the pass through, and he can't do that with Benteke because he's just not quick enough.
Yeah, but now that you've sold Sterling, which, in my view, I never highly rated him as like a top player. I personally have always thought Chamberlain was better, but that's an Arsenal fan versus a Liverpool fan. Do you still rate Sterling as a Liverpool fan, or are you one of them Liverpool fans that hates him because he's joined a rival club?
Last season, I absolutely hated Sterling. He was probably one of the worst players in the team. He was very quick. That's the only thing that I liked about him. He was very quick, but the problem was with him was that he lacked the final product, whether it was putting it into the box, whether it was shooting. He just had none of that. But then watching him for City recently, he's looked a completely different player. The runs he's been making, the shots he's been having, all that good stuff. He looks absolutely incredible. And to be honest, I think he's probably a bit of a steal for £49 million now. At the time, I thought that was a good deal for Liverpool, but I would have held on to him, to be honest. And we could have done with him putting in those crosses to Benteke and stuff like that now. But what can you do? There's nothing much we can do now. But I wish him the best of luck. I think he's a great player, and I think he'll do well for England. And that's the only reason I like him, because he's English.
Yeah, that's another situation that you're stuck in now. The fact that you've sold your youngest and probably the highest prospect player in your club, the Sterling. He was your winger, and you've loaned out Markovic. Who have you got to play on the wings now? You've got
Jordan Ibe.
Jordan Ibe.
I think Jordan Ibe's one of the only ones.
Yeah, Jordan Ibe, Milner. He can't exactly run. I like Milner. For England, he's absolute. He's like playing someone who's just come out of Fat John's team from I don't even know, some non-league team. But Jordan Ibe, for the first game he actually had in the Premier League, I think it might have been his debut, he had a shot from quite far out, proving that he has the shot power, he has the potential to be good, but he just doesn't, he's not going to get the game time. That's the problem.
He does have the potential, but it's with Liverpool. The games he started this season, the first two, I didn't really think that he was anywhere up to the standard he was last season.
Yeah.
I would have thought that Rodgers would have loaned out Jordan Ibe instead of Markovic, and the ridiculous thing about loaning out Markovic was apparently they had an offer from Watford to loan him. Now, I don't know why Rodgers would want to loan out a player that's in the Premier League to an Eredivisie side when they could put him into a Premier League team so he can get more experience, but that's just the problem with Rodgers. I don't understand where he gets all the logic from. Why would you loan out a winger that's in the Premier League when you can get... Why would you go over to the Eredivisie? It's a completely different game. He's going to come back next season, be completely off the pace, and he'll end up getting sold. He won't stay at the club. Yeah. But Jordan Ibe could have gone to anywhere. He's a fantastic player. He's only 21. He still makes quite a few mistakes. He's very, very strong, which is what I really like. Very quick as well. And his shots, like you said, against Everton, the one from the halfway line, which hit the post, nearly won us the game. It was an absolutely insane shot. And yeah, I don't see him being in the squad this season.
He does have a good future. I can see him being a future England player. Like he could be one of the Sterlings, a high-rated player. He just needs the first team gameplay. But the problem is, obviously, in the Benteke situation, I've been a big fan of Benteke ever since he come to Aston Villa. His first season at Aston Villa, what was it? Over 10, I think about 15 goals, for instance.
Yeah.
And literally, I was like, I want to sign him for Arsenal. He is someone we need. He'll be a 20-plus goal game, a 20-plus goal season striker. And he's joined Liverpool. I said, everyone. No, I've not heard one single person actually say he was worth that money. In the long run, he is worth the money because he's still young. He is strong. He is proven in the Premier League. Unlike, obviously, Manchester United, who have just gone out and bought that young player. Obviously, I can't remember his
Marshall.
name. Yeah, the guy from Monaco for £36 million. Like you said earlier about him being the most expensive youngest player. Yeah.
Most expensive teenager since Wayne Rooney 10 years ago.
Yeah, and now all these Man United fans are sitting there going, we've just found the new... Well, I say all the Man United fans. I've seen a few tweets saying we found our new star, he's going to help us. He's not proven in the Premier League. This is what Manchester United need. He is like a 9-goal... Yes, fair dues to him. He's obviously really young. He scored 9 goals in the League One. Not the best league in the world, but Charlie Austin, for £15 million, could have just brought him into the Premier League. He's proven, what did he score, 18 goals in the last season?
It's a problem that the only reason that they're bought him was, I personally think it's a panic buy. I think Van Gaal saw yesterday, he's got no one on that pitch really, apart from Depay that's going to score goals. He needed to get someone quick. And with the European transfer deadline being, I think, in about 12 hours' time, he's got to get someone quickly. It's exactly the same Kenny Dalglish with Andy Carroll. Andy Carroll's a fantastic player at Newcastle. Wasn't worth anywhere near over 20 million, but we bidded 35 million for him, and look where he's at, West Ham now. Injured all the time, absolutely appalling. But he's still young. He probably could turn good, but he's not going to be an immediate, impact signing.
He's not a title-winning striker, and that is what teams like that need. If Liverpool... They just need to reshape. Personally, my views, they need a new manager. People are saying Jurgen Klopp, that's never going to happen. I can't see that ever happening. But Liverpool, Spurs, Manchester United and Arsenal, they need the Diego Costas and the Agueros to get back in them title contender positions. Not one of them teams is a title contender until they get a striker like that is going to score them the 20 plus 5 plus goals. It's just never going to happen because, like, I'm not lying, Giroud, Benteke, you've got Kane, who's a one season. For me personally, Harry Kane is a one season wonder until he proves himself this season.
He is, obviously. I mean, you just look at teams like Liverpool when they've had Luis Suarez, and then he just goes. You just saw what the effect was last season, going from second in the league, dropping out of the top 4, getting Europa League now. Players like them are so influential to teams, and... people can say it's a team game, but at the end of the day, a team always has one star man, whether it's your Aguero, whether it's your Messi, whether it's your Ronaldo, and if they get taken out of the squad, then you're left with no one, really. Yeah. You're left with no one.
It's exactly the same. I don't want to talk about Arsenal, so I talked about them in the last episode, but it's exactly the same with Arsenal, really. Like, you got Sanchez. If you take Sanchez out of that team, you lose all that momentum. He is the player that pushed Arsenal to go, all right, we're going to push for the ball. We're going to push on the defence when they've got the ball. Arsenal never used to do that. They used to sit back and wait for the ball to come to them. Now they do that, they're backing in a few more goals, getting a few more attacks on, and it's a completely different side. Now,
I agree.
Do you see Liverpool as title contenders this season?
No, not at all.
Do you see them as Champions League contenders?
I can see if United don't pick up, I can see us getting into the top 4. But to be honest, it's going to be a push. We'll be 5th or 4th, definitely, I think. It's
like with the likes of Swansea and you've got Stoke City. Like I said in the last episode, Stoke City I can see within 5 years are easily going to be a Europa League champion, well, not so much Champions League, a Europa League contenders easily every single year. The signings he's made are just taking it to the next level. There's like the type of signings, players like Shaqiri, he should be going for a top name like Chelsea, Arsenal and all that. But for £12 million, just gone to Stoke City. It's just a completely different... The BPL is starting to change and everyone needs to wake up and see you need the money to start winning the title. It's not bringing through players. That's what Rodgers is trying to do. He's trying to bring players through the youth system. I totally agree. That's a great way, obviously, doing it. Arsenal have done it for years. Southampton do it every year. But trying to do it to win the league, it's not going to happen.
No, you can see it in the likes of Liverpool when you've got the likes of Emre Can, you've got Joe Gomez, 18, 21 years old, the money ball technique, trying to basically get the youngest player possible with the most potential, trying to sell them for loads of money when they're older, trying to make the owners a bit of money so they can maybe try and get big players. But you can see when we had players, like Gerrard with the experience to be able to push us through games, now we've got Emre Can, he lacks the experience. And you saw him against West Ham. He absolutely fell apart, in my opinion. He was awful throughout the game. But then you've got players like, I suppose, Skirtle, who kind of held us together against Arsenal and games like that. He's like our team leader. Milner as well, the experience. You could see him. He's already come into the squad. I didn't expect him to get a vice-captain, to be honest. At the start of the season, I would have said Skirtle captain, Henderson vice-captain. But to be honest, Milner's turned out to be a very good vice-captain. He's very, very vocal, which is really good. And that's why you need, I think, experience over, age, if you ask me. But I think players at about 26 are probably 10 times a player that younger players are, even if they do have the potential, you know, like Martin Odegaard. If they came into the Premier League, played for a team like Liverpool, I think he'd struggle. I do think he'd struggle just because he didn't have the
definitely,
you know, the experience in the Premier League, and that's sort of where most teams lack, I suppose.
That is something that I've always said. Now, like I said earlier, obviously, all of these top teams need a world-class striker, but there's a difference between picking out a world-class striker who can score 20 goals in another league. Look at Depay, scored 20-odd goals in the Eredivisie. Has he scored one yet in the BPL?
No, not in the BPL. He looks very, very good in the Champions League. It's just not in the Premier League. It just doesn't look anywhere near.
The Premier League is the league where it's a great opportunity to show your quality, but the problem is you're not going to score them 25 plus goals with a winger every season. Sanchez, glitch in the system, really, like absolute amazing first season. No one expected him to do what he did, and seriously, will he do it again this season? I don't think he'll get the goals he got this season, but I think he'll be the same sort of player pushing on stuff. But this is what I'm talking about. Teams go out into the Europe side. They look for like the top. They look for all these young prospects to try and bring up. But the problem is they have no Premier League experience. Now the likes of Wanyama, who wants to leave Southampton. Now Spurs want to pick him up. I've always said Schmeidlin just went to Manchester United. Is someone who has the experience of the Premier League. You could go pick Cavani up, for instance. Any team could go pick Cavani up, for instance. He has no Premier League experience. He went from the best player in Napoli, one of the best strikers in the world at Serie A, went to League One, just flopped completely. Will that happen with any of the players that the BPL players are bringing? BPL teams are bringing at the moment? I think it will.
No, I think it will as well. If you just, players like, if you look at Cuadrado, he had an absolutely insane, World Cup, playing for Inter, I think it was, before he joined Chelsea, and then he joins a team like Chelsea, straight onto straight onto the bench, and he will have lost the progress. It's players like that, the young players, you want to get as much game time, but the problem is, you just can't do it in the Premier League, because personally, I just don't think they're good enough to go into there. That's why I agree with teams loaning out young players like, Markovic to a team. But to be honest, I don't understand why really you'd loan out a Premier League player to like a slower league. You'd want to get him into the Championship, maybe a bit off the pace of a Premier League, but still along the right lines, or maybe get him to Watford. Like a lot of the people were saying he should have gone to Watford instead of Fenerbahce, so he gets more Premier League experience. But
I thought that's what players are doing, teams are trying to do now. There's a lot of, obviously, look at Patrick Bamford for Chelsea. Got loaned out, obviously, I think he got bought for a couple of 100,000 a few seasons ago. Got loaned out for Middlesbrough. It's one of the top goal scorers in the Championship. Come back, he's never going to break into that first team. Let's be honest, when you've got the likes of Diego Costa, you've got Falcao, who I still think he just accidentally slipped over and the ball hit him and went in. And you got Remy. I have highly rated that guy ever since he left Marseille. Always wanted him at Arsenal. Went to QPR, obviously flopped there. Tried his best at QPR there, just couldn't keep him up, obviously. Went to Newcastle, had a fairly good season. I think it's about 12 goals a season. And now he's at Chelsea, where he's just sitting on the bench every week. He might come on for a Capital One Cup game, but he just needs a team like Aston Villa or something to go to, where he's going to get that first team gameplay.
Personally, in my opinion, I think Remy going to Chelsea was one of the biggest mistakes. Beforehand, Liverpool were linked all over the place with him, and then apparently he had a medical and it got failed. Now, I don't know whether that was because Liverpool didn't want him or not, but that was one of the worst mistakes they made. They went on to sign Balotelli, and there's nothing else really to say about Balotelli. He's not the player that we really needed, to be honest. He just didn't have the work rate, whereas Remy, he was quick. Suarez wasn't the quickest, but he had the skill. But we just need a quick striker just to get onto the ball when Coutinho latches it through, Firmino latches it through. And I think it would have been a better signing than Benteke, to be honest, to have had Remy. Just because he's a lot quicker and he fits our style of play a bit better, to be honest, because we don't cross him really.
Him and Sturridge, I think that'd be a great strike force. Yeah, but maybe that's something they might do in the future. Try and nab obviously Remy off them, because while this is sitting, obviously Remy's sitting on the bench, he's probably thinking this was a bit of a mistake. Yes, he won the league, but he didn't exactly. He might have. It was about 4 goals he contributed to it. That's not something he wants to be doing. He's still young. He's still got potential to be a good striker. Now, for me, someone like Remy, there was actually a tweet from Aston Villa. Retweet if you like Remy and favourite if you like someone else. Now, That's from the Aston Villa actual Twitter. Now, I believe someone like Remy could change a team like Aston Villa, keep them up, and that's exactly what he did with Newcastle. He tried it with QPR, obviously. He only went on loan to Newcastle, but he had a great time there. He was scoring goals week in, week out. He was doing some great contribution to the team, and that's what he needs. He needs that confidence back.
Yeah, I agree. I think he could get that back if he went to a lower side like Aston Villa. Obviously, don't have the the expectations to be winning leagues and stuff like that. They just want to be getting into maybe, the top 12, just staying up so they don't get relegated and stuff like that. And a player like Remy, with the experience that he's had, playing for QPR when they go down, playing for Newcastle when he was playing absolutely incredible. Just going to teams like Chelsea, it just ruins your career. It just happens to so many players. You look at Victor Moses, he absolutely was he looked absolutely incredible when he played for Wigan. Goes to Chelsea, gets loaned out everywhere. For Liverpool, Moses was one of the worst players that I've actually seen play for Liverpool, and he's up there with the likes of Christian Poulsen, that Roy Hodgson brought in, but yeah, it's just Chelsea. They just see players that are doing quite well, offer them a load of money. The players see money, and then they realise, they want the money. It's like John Stones. I think Martinez said it perfectly in the middle of the week. They said that players normally get attracted by the money, but it's not always about that, because he said that John Stones will end up, getting put on the bench. You won't get the game time, won't be able to progress and stuff like that. But then he also mentioned about the transfer window, about it being open in the middle of the season. I kind of disagree that he disagrees with it, because say if a player like David De Gea, because obviously he's linked with Real Madrid, he's been on the bench for like the past 4 or 5 games for them, but if the transfer window shut before the season started, they wouldn't be having that problem, would they? They'd be able to say, yeah, you can play, because otherwise players are in the wrong frame of mind whether they're going to stay, whether they're going to go. And then it kind of does mess up teams like, Manchester United, where they have got Sergio Romero in goal instead of David De Gea, who could have, won them a game against Swansea yesterday, because apparently it was Romero's fault they lost. But yeah, it's just problems like that, really.
But the problem is, they complain about, obviously, the season, like you just said, they're complaining about the window being open halfway through the Premier League. And let's say the likes of John Stones got injured. Now, yes, the Everton have got a lot of fullbacks that are young, got good potential, like Galloway, who can play left-back, fullback. You got Garbutt, who can play left-back. You got Jagielka there. You got, I think, Alcatraz or someone like that. But he's no John Stones. But the problem is, if they get injured, who have you got? You need to buy someone throughout that season. Arsenal did it, boom, bought Sanchez, changed the season around, changed it all around. Well, no, tell a lie, they bought him in January. Or did they?
Well,
I can't even remember now.
Yeah, that's true, but I suppose January is kind of a bit different, because it's halfway through the season, whereas, at the start of the season, it's a bit different, because you want to get off to a good start, and if your big players like David De Gea can't play, then they're just going to stop your progress.
That's Van Gaal's choice. He could play David De Gea if he wanted to. That's what makes me laugh the most. The fact that De Gea was on his way, his bags have been packed, he was off to Real Madrid, and boom, all of it's been dropped dead after they've signed, obviously, that goalkeeper from,
Casilla
from someone?
Casilla from Espanyol, I think it was.
Espanyol, that's the one. Yeah, they signed another striker. Now, Van Gaal's being set on the bench. Their best goalkeeper in the club is sitting on the bench. Romero, the goal that Gomes scored, the late winner, well, not the late winner, but the winner, personally, I think he could have got a hand to that. He got down a little bit late. If he moved his hand a little bit underwards, yes, he could have saved it. But that's football, to be honest. Like, I bet on games. You expect teams like, look at Liverpool. I'm not obviously mocking Liverpool. Look at Liverpool, West Ham. The odds were 10. You bet £1, you get 10 back for West Ham to win. They won 3-0. Yeah. That's football for you. Arsenal could nearly bloody lost against bloody what's name. If Mitrovic was playing, might Newcastle have beaten Arsenal? You don't know if he didn't get sent off, because we struggled so much in their final half when it comes to actually scoring. We only got 1 goal against a 10-man team.
That's the problem that I find with bigger teams. When bigger teams go away to smaller teams, they always get intimidated. It's whether it's in the FA Cup, Carling Cup playing, League Two sides. Always the underdog ends up winning. That's what I found. I found that Liverpool as a team, since I've started watching them since I was little, is that we always seem to perform extremely well against the bigger sides like Manchester City, United, Arsenal. When we got the Merseyside derby, we always perform well. And when we come up against teams like Sunderland, we always seem to struggle. and then we just end up losing. And that's where we've gone wrong in the past couple of years, and that's why we haven't actually contended for anything for quite a while.
I think Bradford City are a key team there, what you're talking about, obviously the lower teams beating the bigger teams. The years they have gone through the FA Cup, beating them big teams. They beat Chelsea last year, who were probably contenders to win the FA Cup. And obviously, look at Aston Villa. They got to the FA Cup final. No one thought that. They were in absolute turmoil. They were in the bloody relegation zone half of the season. Next week, you know, doing the FA Cup final.
Thanks for beating Liverpool.
Yeah, thank you very much for doing that
as well.
You gave a nice easy win for us. Now, let's talk about a little bit on the old who's going to win each league. Now this is interesting because obviously each year the BPL, there's different clubs. You got the Arsenal, you got the Chelsea, you got Man U, you got the Man Cities. No offence to Liverpool and Spurs, but they sort of dropped out of that title contender situation. To be honest, Arsenal over the years. But who do you think could potentially win the league this year?
The Premier League, it's an easy one for me. I think Manchester City have already got it before it's even started. The players that they brought in, De Bruyne, Otamendi, Sterling, their team is just looking absolutely solid from head to toe. And then you look at a team like Manchester United, they just look all over the place, to be honest. Arsenal, you know, Chelsea going from winning every single game pretty much last season to, I don't even think they've actually won more than one game this season, have they?
I think they might have won. Actually, no, I think they might have drawn all their games. That's what.
That's the problem that they've got. And to be honest, I can see that keeps it happening. I think Mourinho will be gone by Christmas. It's the same with Rodgers. If he doesn't start winning, if we don't get into the top 4 by Christmas, he'll be gone as well.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna. They couldn't sack Mourinho, but. They couldn't sack Mourinho. He's obviously signed a new contract. It's just a bit... He's like they said on Match of the Day. Mourinho has won over 200 games for Chelsea in the time he's been there. I think it was something like 200 games. You don't just sack someone like that just because he's having a little bad patch. Every manager, he's just gone from winning. That momentum was built up over the years. He's won pretty much everything. So many trophies all around the world. He's not the type of manager to sit down, rest. Maybe... with the Man City signings, that is what's pushed them. Now, winning the league with Man City, yes, I personally think that is going to happen. Like they have the obviously the authority to win it because they have all the players. Literally, let's say Sterling gets injured, you chuck Nazari in there. The quality of their team and their backup players is just it's just amazing.
No, it is amazing. I mean, if you look at their bench is probably worth more than the majority of teams in the Premier League. Probably more than the likes of Sunderland, West Brom. You know, it's ridiculous. And it's just down to the owners. It's just a look at the draw, really. If you've got good owners, you're going to win things. I mean, and it's the manager as well, I suppose, because obviously, you know, teams like Liverpool, we've got good owners. They're very generous. They give us money, but then you've got Rodgers who just goes out and just... you know, flashes the cash, buys whoever he wants, and then you've got a board as well, a board of directors who, you know, just help decide all the transfers, you know, bringing in, like, Gomez, stuff like that, and that's the problem, I suppose, with some big clubs. They just get dictated to by the board, and I suppose the manager can't actually be allowed to do what they want to do, which I suppose is the case in Benteke, I suppose.
Yeah, that's the problem, like, managers... like, obviously, Spurs, they need to bring in a striker. Will Pochettino be able to bring in one? He's brought in a young, unproven striker to match up Harry Kane. You got Arsenal. Years we've needed a striker. It's not Wenger's money. Chelsea needed a striker. Boom. Mourinho just went out there, went, Diego Costa, join my fucking club, mate. And boom. Yeah. Look at the season he's had. It's just teams like, we need a manager, well, all these clubs need a manager like Mourinho, who's just going to go out there, he's going to buy him. Pedro, linked with Manchester United forever, boom, just went and bought Pedro like it was a click of his fingers. It's just... and that's
exactly it. With teams like Arsenal, they have got the money to buy players. You've seen them when they bought Sanchez. Yeah. It's just whether or not that... I personally think Arsenal want a guaranteed good buy, and that's the problem with football. You can't always get guaranteed good buys. You know, you look at Andy Carroll, 35 million, but then, you know... players like Benzema that prove themselves. He would have been a great signing for Arsenal, I think, but he's just too loyal to the club. Although, if enough money was probably thrown at him, he probably would have joined Arsenal in a click of a finger, I think.
So, right, we'll move on to the League One. The League One.
Yeah.
There's no exactly, who's going to win the League One? What can us this year?
The League One's an easy one for me. I mean, you've got teams like, you know, Lyon, Marseille, Bordeaux, Lille... but then you just got Paris Saint-Germain, and they're just ahead of the, they're just ahead of the game. The players they've got Di Maria now, Ibrahimovic, Cavani. Yeah. There's no one that can compete with them really, and it happens every year. There's always a team in some foreign leagues which will end up, winning loads of things. Whether it's PSG, whether it's Barcelona, Real Madrid. And PSG are just, the dominant force in that league, I suppose, at the minute.
Obviously, Marseille did have a fairly alright season, so did Lyon, but PSG are just out of the water. Like they're like all these other teams, they're in this own little pond, and PSG are just in the sea. They own the motherfucking sea.
Yeah, it's just basically it. Though, if you look at Marseille, they had a good season. They've now lost 3 out of 4 games in the league. They're on 3 points. They're 15th. I understand it's just the start of the season, but still, for a team that was contending last season, really, they should be up there. Monaco as well. The money that they've spent, or the players that they've had. They've won 1 game, drawn 2, lost 1, and there's big teams, the smaller teams that are now proving themselves. There's Rennes, who don't particularly have any big signings, I don't think. There's Reims, they don't particularly have anyone too good, and then I've never even heard of this team. Angers, Angers, I don't even know who they're called. They've won 2 and 1
team from League 2,
and they are 4th at the minute. And I understand it's just the start of the season, but usually the teams that get the best start to the season end up winning the league, and that was evident last season with Chelsea.
What the fucking Christ? My phone's just randomly turned itself on and started playing some random music. Sorry about that. Right, going to move on to the Eredivisie. Now, for me, this league, obviously, for years, it was Ajax's league. It was their league for years and years and years. But now, the likes of PSV, was obviously last year, they destroyed the league. But now they've sold majority of their players. Well, I say majority of them. They have obviously sold, I think, Lens to Sunderland.
Yeah.
They've sold Wijnaldum to Newcastle. They've sold Depay. These were their top players who were winning them the league. They were getting them the goals and the assists.
Yeah, like I said earlier, it's exactly the same. The bigger players will always, push the teams through. As soon as they get taken out, it's just bound to fail. And there's another example of it.
Yeah, because PSV are currently, they're 2 wins in two wins, 2 draws. Yeah, they've scored the 8 goals and they conceded 4 goals. Now, Ajax at the top, 4 wins, 4 played, obviously. They scored 12 goals, and they've not even conceded one. Now, that's just showing pure class. Obviously, it's clearly Yaya Sanogo up front, scoring all them goals. You just know, when Arsenal don't sign another striker, we're recalling him, and he's just going to 30-goal season.
No, but you can see with Ajax, they've always had good, youth prospects. Of they brought the likes of Suarez, they brought Ibrahimovic, and there's players like that. They've obviously got a very good youth system, and to be honest, I can just see them continuing to be, dominant in that league with the players that they're going to bring in. And if you look at the Eredivisie team this season on FIFA, I know this is nothing to go by, but they dominated pretty much all of it. And if you ask me, that's basically saying something. They've got a pretty good team, really.
Yeah, they always have had a good team. Now, I don't know if you weren't born and I weren't born, but the legends like Kluivert, Van Nistelrooy, the players that have used to play for them, Dennis Bergkamp, it's endless. It's just
I know them through the fact that they've won a lot of Champions Leagues. Have Ajax? They've won, I think it's just 1 or 2 under Liverpool, because Liverpool are fantastic. And, it's just good to see a team like that as opposed to it. It's like Nottingham Forest, looking at them, they've won more, Champions Leagues than, say, Arsenal.
And Chelsea, so
and Chelsea, it's exactly it. And maybe in their history they were fantastic, and it just proves that they're still carrying on, not doing too bad in the league right now, which is pretty good.
Right, the Bundesliga, for me, this one's a tough one because you personally might say just Bayern, but for me, Borussia Dortmund, their new manager, they're unbeaten at the moment. They're on great form. Aubameyang's literally in the form of his life, signed a new contract. Royce. Maybe, I reckon someone might even make a late move for Royce and try and turn him into that striker he used to be. He's mainly a left winger. I reckon Arsenal even might make a late move for him or something. But for me, Dortmund they're getting back on track. Mkhitaryan's right in the position he wants to be. He's doing great. The goalkeeper, they got a new young goalkeeper, so I don't think they're paying Weidenfeller anymore. Literally, they've got some great team. They've got Matt Hummels, who's on great form. Their whole team is just absolutely solid at the moment. But then Wolfsburg, now they're a team that done exceptionally well. But with the selling of obviously Kevin De Bruyne to assist Bas Dost, do you think they're going to do as good?
Well, apparently I've heard that Wolfsburg are bringing in Julian Draxler from Schalke, but whether or not that's going to happen, I'm not too sure. But that'll be a very good signing. I'd love to see Julian Draxler in the Premier League, another very good young prospect. Whether or not he'd be able to, get up to their expectations of Kevin De Bruyne, because I was watching him when Wolfsburg were in the Europa League, I think it was. He was absolutely incredible. How direct he is as a player, running down the wing, crossing it in and stuff like that. He was absolutely incredible. But for me personally, I still think Bayern Munich are going to win the league. I mean, Dortmund have obviously had a very good start, but the players that Munich have got, Robben, your Lewandowski, they've got the class to do it, and I just think they're going to win again.
Yeah, for me, Douglas Costa and Arturo Vidal, great signing, but that Douglas Costa. Now, some people might have said he was a one-season wonder. Obviously, he's got the skill and everything in the Shakhtar Donetsk. Can he bring it to the Bundesliga? Watching Bundesliga highlights on ITV4 at 11 o'clock on Monday. You've got to do this. You watch Douglas Costa. Oh, there's no words to explain. He doesn't even do a rainbow flick. What even was that flick over the guy's head?
I don't even know. Just put it between his 2 feet, just flicked it over him. Yeah, he's an absolutely incredible player. Yeah,
exactly. He is direct in his play. He can score. He can assist. The pace he has. He is going to be tearing defences' arses in half all season. Yeah. And when you've got the likes of Lewandowski and Muller who can play up front. Now, you say Man City have obviously got quite a lot of versatility. You've got players who can play in different positions. You've got Muller who can play on the right, the striker. You obviously got Douglas Costa who can play on the right, left, middle. It's just their team is out of this world.
No, I completely agree. I mean, Bayern Munich have probably got one of the best attacking forces in the world, to be honest, apart from obviously, the likes of Barcelona, but still, they can contend. They've got a very good defence, Alaba, very good. He's only about 24. Neuer, best goalkeeper in the world. They've got such good players, but I mean, I was quite surprised when I saw the departure of Dante. I think that was this morning. He's actually left Bayern Munich. I was very surprised at that, because he's a very good centre-back, and I would have had him anywhere, to be honest, at Liverpool. I think a majority of teams would have had him. Chelsea, John Terry obviously slipping away. After his penalty in the Champions League, and Kappa, and then stuff like that. And I just thought Dante would have been a good signing in the Premier League. He's tall, he's quite, a good build, I suppose, for a centre back. But I just can't see Dortmund holding on to this. I just think Munich have got it all the way. They've brought the players. Vidal, he's proved himself for Juventus. Helped them get to the Champions League final. Obviously, got knocked off by Barcelona, which is not a bad thing if you look at their team, the players that they've got.
Being a midfielder against the likes of midfielders like the Xavi and Iniesta, trying to defend against their passing is physically 99. It's impossible, pretty much.
No, I completely agree. Yeah. Then when you've got Messi, Suarez, Neymar running at you, it's not exactly going to be easy.
It's quite fearful. I'll be like, sorry, mate. Sorry, I'm going home. Or whoever. No, that's the Bayern Munich bloody gut. What's name? Coach. Yeah. Right, I'm going to move on to the Liga BBA now. So, Barcelona last year, obviously, their season, there's no way else to describe it. They done the treble, which not many teams have actually done in the BBA. But Real Madrid, they've made a couple of signings. Obviously, they've signed Danilino as a right back. Even though I thought Carvajal, I really like Carvajal. He's still young. Obviously, they've got that Arbeloa. Is he?
Arbeloa, yeah.
Yeah, I think. Oh, they might even be selling him or something. I'm not even sure what's going on there. But Carvajal signed a new contract to like 2021 or something. You got obviously young players are coming through. You got you got backup goalkeeper. You got Navas. I think it's like Navas. You got that other one, that Espanyol goalkeeper. You got potentially coming. Are they Liga BBA title contenders once again?
They are contenders, definitely, but I don't think they're winners, in my opinion. Of course, I'm going to go with Barcelona again. I mean, they've got the world's best player, Lionel Messi. That's obviously going to cause quite a bit of controversy, to be honest. There's a lot of people like Ronaldo, but they've got the best attack in the world. Messi, Ronaldo, Neymar. There's nothing else to say, really.
Messi, Ronaldo, Neymar.
Yeah, Messi, Suarez, and Neymar. Same thing.
God, I love that attack. Yeah, but then some people compare that to the Ronaldo Benzema Bao. Now that is obviously a completely different topic, which you've probably gone forever, comparing Messi, Ronaldo, and Bao to Neymar, Suarez, and Neymar, Suarez, and Messi. Now that's just another topic altogether. But proving that they scored over 100 odd goals in one season. And Messi, Ronaldo, and Bao didn't. Does that make them a better partnership, or I don't know?
I'm not sure. It's because if you look at players like, I don't know, you look at you know, some players in the Premier League, you know, when Andy Carroll used to play for Newcastle, he had an absolutely insane, you know, first season or whatever it was, you know, like fourth, fifth season when he was scoring in the goals, and then and then he joined Liverpool, and then his career slowly declined. Yeah. But some players, their career will decline, but then they'll go back up again. If you look at Fernando Torres, I mean, he was a very good example. I mean, at Atletico Madrid, he was good. At Liverpool, he was absolutely incredible, best player in the league. And then he just started to go down and down and down. But then towards when he joined, you know, Chelsea, he started to go up slightly. And then when he joined Atletico Madrid, I think he's actually gone up again. I don't think he's as good as he ever was, but you know, he's gone back to his form. So it just depends on their form, to be honest. And I just think it's their form.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like that's exactly the same as Gareth Bale. Like, come to the Bundesliga, well, BVA, Bundesliga, that'd be a great signing. Yeah, he come to the Liga BVA, but had a great few starts and stuff. Had a good first season, pretty solid first season. The start of this season didn't really get off the mark until a while. Now, I think he might have scored the first. What was the team they were playing against? I can't remember. Was it Espanyol or they were playing?
Yeah,
no, that was sure. Is it Seville? No. Oh my god, I can't remember what I'm talking about. Whatever the goal, he scored in the first 2 minutes, and then I didn't watch the rest of the game. But let's see if he can have a good season this season, because he is one of them players. He's the most expensive player in the world. He comes with obviously the biggest price tag. It's not like a hefty price tag. It is the most expensive player in the world. He does have the potential to be one of the greats. He just needs obviously the service. He just needs the confidence back that he used to have at Spurs. When he was at Spurs, he was free playing. They just lazily went, bow, run. And that's all he did. Run, shoot, pass. He done it all. That's what he needs to do at Real Madrid. Obviously, it's quite hard when most of the shining light is on, obviously, Ronaldo and then Benzema, and it's all over the place at Real Madrid. If you have a good game, or if you even have a bad game, you get absolutely ripped apart at Real Madrid.
Yeah, you do.
That's exactly
the problem is with a player, when you're playing with a player like Ronaldo, I personally think that Ronaldo is pretty much controlling Real Madrid. I think Ronaldo doesn't look too happy with Bale, I don't think he likes Bale being in there. If you look at last season, I think Bale scored an absolutely insane goal, ran the whole pitch and then scored. If you look at Ronaldo's face, he didn't look too pleased about it, when I would be pretty pleased. All his teammates were coming and Ronaldo just walked off. I just don't think Ronaldo likes anybody contending with the fans really want, he wants the fans to love him and not anybody else. And that's the problem with having a player like Bale. He could happen because he's such a good player. And that's the problem with Bale, to be honest. If he's in a big team like that, he's going to struggle to, I don't know, improve, score goals, I think, personally.
There was a game where he actually had, what was it? I think it might have been he actually done the least passes in the whole of the game. And the goalkeeper done more. And he got absolutely shredded apart for that. And actually the hate he got. But he come out on top in the next game. So it's just basically, you have a bad game, you get ripped apart. It's football all over. But that's where you need to keep your confidence up. Don't listen to the papers. Only listen to, obviously, your manager and your agent. They're the people you probably count most. And that is how Bale's probably going to go on and win many more things at the Bernabeu.
Yeah, I agree completely. Although in the future, I can see him coming back to the Premier League, whether it's for Chelsea, whether it's for Arsenal, United, anything like that. I don't see him staying at Real Madrid much longer.
Obviously, that's where he's come from Tottenham. Obviously, he spent his whole life, was built up from Tottenham as a left. Well, come from Southampton as a left back, went to Tottenham, moved up into the left mid, then went to centre attacking mid. He was all over the place. He played amazing. He built his way up through Tottenham. I can't see him if he came back to the BPL. Tottenham haven't got the funds to bring him back, unlike Chelsea and Man U. But I can't see him going back to the likes of Chelsea or Man U, though. That's the difference.
I think I can. I don't think he's a player that will be that loyal, to be honest, to Spurs. I just don't think it'll happen. I just think he'll join a different club.
Alright, I think we're gonna end it here now because we're going on for at least an hour.
Yeah.
Wow.
45 minutes.
It was some fun talking about all this with you, Lucas. Thank you very much for coming on. Have you got anything to say?
Hit a like rating on this video. Yeah, there we go.
Right, guys, I'll leave TheFifaFinisher's link in the description below. If you would like any other special guests to come on, obviously we're supposed to have Folly FIFA come on with us, but he decided to sleep in all day. But thank you very much for watching, guys. If you are new around here, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you have any views on any of the topics we talked about, make sure you leave it in the comment section below. And I do hope to see you next time. I'll see you next Sunday. Goodbye. That's where you say goodbye as well.
Bye.